Hi everybody and welcome to an Age of Fantasy battle report. Havoc War Warriors versus Eternal Wardens. The Necromancer has been betrayed. He's cut off from most of his troops, but his Warmasters still operate in all areas of Teniras. Long has Teniras cherished the Book of Light, resting upon a sacred altar watched by the Eternal Wardens. But the Warmaster Zarvok has sworn to break the faith of Teniras and cast their hope into dust. Without the knowledge of the Necromancer, he has planned an attack to defile the altar and the Book of Light. The Wardens stand prepared, their oath binding them to fight to the last. But they are few in numbers and surrounded from all sides. If they can resist long enough, time will be their savior. Let's take a look at the two armies. For the first time, I will playtest the 3.5 beta army lists. The Eternal Wardens are led by two Guardian elites. The first one is armed with an heavy hand weapon and an elite bow. The second one only with heavy hand weapon. Then there's a unit of destroyers. They have tough 3, but they are slow. They are armed with 3 meteor hammers. Then we have a group of Wardens armed with heavy hand weapons, also tough 3, and they are furious. And finally a group of Guardians with heavy spears and the counter special ability. All the Eternal Wardens are fearless. The new 3.5 army ability of the Eternal Wardens is Alabaster Shielding, where enemies that shoot from more than 9 inches or charge will get -1 AP when they attack. Zarvok is a chosen Warmaster. He's a combat veteran that enables him to activate twice in one round. He's mounted on a horse, so he's fast, he has impact, and he is armed with a heavy great weapon, and he's also an army standard bearer that gives him Fear 3. With him he has two groups of war warriors. They are armed with heavy hand weapons, and they have the icon of Havoc that gives them Fearless. Finally, two groups of war warriors. They are furious, they are armed with 4 dual hand weapons and 1 heavy great weapon, and the special 3.5 army ability of the Havoc War Warriors is War Blessing. When they shoot within 12 inches or charge, enemies that roll to block and roll a 1 will take 1 extra hit. The mission this time, and for the first time in this channel's history, is Last Stand. The central objective that must be defended is the Book of Light in the center of the battlefield, and all the Eternal Wardens deploy around the altar with the book. The Havoc War Warriors will deploy along the edges, and they have deployed along the right and left side of the battlefield. The army that controls the Book of Light at the end of round 6 will win, but there is a little twist. If one of the Havoc units is completely destroyed, it will be removed from the battlefield, but can between rounds roll a d6, and on a roll of 6, it will be able to deploy again with full strength. Final comment before the roll-off is that in this battle I experimented with AI controlling the opponent. So I took pictures of the battlefield and told ChatGPT exactly what happened, and then my AI called the moves and the attacks from the Havoc War Warriors. So I'll get back to how that worked at the end of the battle, and maybe I'll look more into that in the future. But for now, let's get started with the roll-off. The Eternal Wardens will roll the blue dice, and the War Warriors will roll the flaming orange dice. And that's a reroll. And finally, the Havoc War Warriors will win. Round 1. From the left side of the battlefield, the group of War Warriors comes charging against the group of Wardens. They have 5 attacks and they hit on 3s, so that's 3 hits. And the defense roll is a 4, and it's a really bad defense roll, mostly because there are 2 1s, and that is already the War Blessing army ability that comes into effect, because the Wardens will receive 4 wounds. And that means one of them is taken out and one will take 1 wound. And then they can fight back. The 2 remaining can attack with 4 attacks and they will hit on force. 3 hits and the warriors defend with force. And there are 2 casualties. 2 war warriors will leave the group, but they will win the fight and the wardens will be forced to take a morale test. They need a 4, but they are fearless and they make it already in their first attempt. The Guardian Elite on top of the ruin will turn around and send 3 arrows in the direction of the War warriors here. He needs force and he fails all attempts. Really bad. Instead, the War warriors will charge against the Guardians with their spears, so they can attack first, and they will hit with 3 of their attacks. But even with AP1, the warriors block them all with their rolls of 5. Now they attack with 2 great weapon attacks and 8 dual hand weapon attacks. All of them will hit on a 3. Both great weapon attacks will hit. That's bad because they are AP3. And the dual hand weapons will also hit, and there is 1 furious hit as well, so that's 5 dual hand weapon hits. They are AP nothing. First they'll try to defend the great weapons, and they will make 1 of them with a roll of 6. Even with their alabaster shielding, they still need 6s. Then they make 3 more saves. So at the end they will take 3 hits, 3 casualties. They will survive as a unit, but of course they will lose the battle. They are forced to a morale test, and they fail that one. They are below half strength, and they fail their fearless roll as well. So the unit is out of this battle, defeated by the War warriors. Immediately, the second Guardian Elite will take the challenge, and he will charge against the same group of warriors, and he will fail all his attacks. Both Guardian Elites have failed 6 out of 6 attempts. Now comes the return strike, but the War warriors are fatigued and none of their attacks, even though there are 10, will hit. The second group of Gore warriors will attack the destroyers, and their 2 great weapon attacks will again hit. Then there will be 4 dual hand weapon hits. 1 of them is furious, so that will be a total of 5. The destroyers have a defense of 2, so with their alabaster shielding they will defend the great weapons, and they will only need rolls of 2 for the remaining hits. And of course, because of War Blessing, they must avoid rolls of 1, but they will roll 2 ones. This is a disaster. They will defend all the hits, but the 2 ones will be doubled. They will take 4 hits. 1 of the destroyers is, destroyed, and another one takes 1 wound. Now they can swing their meteor hammers in return. That's 8 attacks, and they will hit on 3s. So that's 6 hits. And it takes 6s for the War warriors to get out of this one, but they will make 2. Their dice rolling is really good, in contrary to the Wardens. 1 of the War warriors will survive. And this battle is completely tied. The Wardens will attack. They have already fought. They will need 6s with their 4 attacks, but they will make 1 of them. So that's 1 hit. If they fail their defenses, but they don't, they could have been taken below half strength. Instead, the 3 remaining warriors here will fight back, and they also land 1 hit. And the defense roll is no good. So 1 warden will take a 2nd wound, but more importantly, they will lose the battle. And the morale test is a 1, and the fearless roll is another roll of 1. This group of wardens is now shaken. Now my AI decides that Zarvok will ride into battle on his horse. He will charge the destroyers, and that will take him very close to the Book of Light. First, 1 impact hit. And he hits with the impact, but the destroyers will defend that. Then he will attack with 3 heavy great weapon attacks. He will hit on a 3, and 2 hits it is. He's not furious, so he will not get extra hits. The destroyers with their alabaster shielding will need 4s, and they roll double ones. I can't believe it. They will take 4 hits. That will take down one destroyer and leave the last one heavily wounded with only 1 wound remaining. He will swing his meteor hammer, but he's fatigued and he will hit nothing. The Warmaster will retreat and the destroyer will lose the battle but make the morale test. And then he will activate and do nothing. He will move slightly towards the altar, but he will not risk another fight this round. Then the final unit of war warriors will rush towards the altar. They cannot reach any of the wardens. This is the end of the first round. That turned out to be a disaster for the Eternal Wardens that were hit by the war blessing really, really hard. Round 2. The Wardens will activate first, and the Destroyer has a chance to go for the enemy leader. So he will attack with his 4 Meteor Hammer attacks. He will hit on 3s, and he lands 3 hits, enough to destroy the enemy commander if he fails his defense rolls of 5s. And he makes 1 of them. 2 wounds. He's wounded, but still very much alive. He tries to fight back, but hits only with 1 of his return strikes. It's enough to kill the Warden if he fails his defense roll, but he makes it. Finally, a good dice roll. But he still loses the fight because of Zarvok's Fear 3. So he will have to pass a morale test. And he also makes that one. Maybe this is the turning point of this battle. It's really needed. Now 1 Guardian Elite stands between 5 Gore Warriors and the Book of Light. 10 attacks again. 1 great weapon hit and 4 with dual hand weapons and defense rolls. And here I must admit I completely forgot everything about War Blessing, because this was not only a failed defense roll, it should have been 2 hits. And then he makes 3 defense rolls and fails 1, but that should also have been another hit, for a total of 4. Instead, he is alive and can fight back with 3 attacks, and he will hit with all 3 of them with AP 1. That takes defense rolls of 5. And they will make 1 of them. That's 2 casualties, but as I said, the Guardian should have been destroyed. The other Guardian Elite will jump down from the ruin and point his elite bow at the group of warriors behind Zarvok. 3 attacks and 3 hits, but they are AP nothing, so the warriors will block 2 out of the 3 hits, and that will give 1 casualty. The 4 remaining warriors in the unit will charge the Wardens. So they will turn around to face a new challenge. 4 attacks, they will hit on 3s. And there are only 2 hits. This time, I forgot all about the alabaster shielding. So only 4s were needed in defense, and the Wardens rolled 1 4 and 1 5. That was 2 good defense rolls, but since I forgot the rule, one of the Wardens took 1 hit and was eliminated. He fights back with 1 roll of 6, and that will take a defense roll of 4 from the warriors, and they will make that. Now, I have forgotten the 2 armies special rules 1 time each, so we'll call that even. The Warden will lose the fight. He's forced to take a morale test. And he fails his first attempt, but with Fearless, he will make the second one. He's still here. The Wardens are increasingly desperate. The Guardian Elite here has already fought, and he's heavily wounded, but he will still charge against the Gore Warriors. He will attempt 3 attacks and fail them all. Now the Gore Warriors can fight back, and they will land 1 hit, and it is enough to destroy the Guardian if he fails his defense roll. And he does. With a roll of 2, he's defeated. The 1 remaining Gore Warrior from the other unit will charge the Destroyer, and he will hit with 2 great weapon hits. 5s are needed. And the destroyer rolls 1/6, but also one roll of 1. And that's 2 hits, of course, since I remembered the War Blessing this time, and the destroyer is eliminated. The Warden will remove his Shaken, and finally the last group of warriors will try to take him down. 3 attacks and 2 hits. Again, I forgot the Alabaster Shielding. He should only roll 4s instead of 5s, but he rolls a 6 and a 1, so it makes no difference. But I've remembered the War Blessing, so a roll of 1 will give 2 wounds instead of only 1. So he takes 2 wounds, only 1 left. He can fight back, and he hits with none of his return strikes, but the group of warriors will have to move back. He loses the fight, he rolls a 1, and the fearless roll is a 4. He will pass, barely, and hang on. Here at the end of round 2. Only 1 activation remaining, and that's Zarvok, and he will retreat out of reach. He will move away from the heat of the battle. He only has 1 wound left, and he knows that the Wardens will activate first in the 3rd round. Well, the 2 Wardens remaining around the altar. So far, no Havoc units have been destroyed. Round 3. It will be a miracle if the Wardens can defend the Book of Light, but this Guardian Elite will give it his best try. He will aim his bow at the War-Gore warriors, and he will land 2 hits. The bow is AP 1, and there will be 1 blocked attack and 1 hit. So they are down to half strength, and they have to pass a morale test. They have a quality of 3, and they will not pass the morale test. They will be shaken. At least that will stop them this round. A tiny hope is still left. But then the warriors here will charge. They will leave their Warden at the top of the battlefield and instead charge the Eternal Guardian. Only 1 hit, but sadly I again forgot about the shielding. He should block the hit with a 4. I thought it was a 5 that he needed, so he'll take 1 wound, sadly for him. But he can fight back with 3 attacks. And he will hit with them all. And the attacks are AP 1. The warriors must roll 4s. And they will roll 1 roll of 4. Only 1 left. 2 casualties, and the warriors will lose this battle. With a quality of 3, he will pass the morale test. But he was fought off by the Eternal Guardian, who took 1 wound. Then the Warden tries his best against the warriors north of the Book of Light and the altar. 2 attacks. He really needs 6s because he's furious, and in the end he will fail both his tries. With only 1 wound left, this looks rather difficult for the Warden, and this group of Wardens really have not delivered anything on the battlefield. He'll take 1 hit and he will not defend. He is eliminated. And that leaves only the Guardian, who already has fought here. He now faces a charge from a War-Gore warrior. 2 attacks with great weapons. He will hit with them both. With or without Alabaster Shielding, he will still need 6s, and he fails both defense rolls and goes down. Technically, the Elite Guardian should have 1 wound left, but Zarvok hasn't activated yet, and I think I can safely say that the Havoc War Warriors will dominantly win this battle and take over the altar and the Book of Light. So here at the end of the battle, I'll give my thoughts on the AI experiment. And I actually think it worked fine, especially in the first round. ChatGPT controlled the units and made some surprising moves. For example, move Zarvok towards the altar. I wouldn't have done that, but it forced the destroyers to deal with Zarvok, and that turned out to be their downfall. But after the first round, the AI kind of lost control and started addressing units that already had activated. But all in all, I think it's an interesting aspect, and I will definitely continue to experiment with AI in future battle reports. Well, now my thoughts of the 3.5 beta army rules that I tested out for the first time in this battle report. The overall idea is that not a few, but all armies should have one specific army rule that will benefit them. Give all armies different flavors, so to speak, and make them more different from each other. In this case, it was War Blessing and Alabaster Shielding. I can clearly see the idea of more specific army rules, but I'm not convinced that this is the way to go. Because not only do you have to remember every army's specific rule, you also have several ranges you have to keep track of. War Blessing, for example, will be active when they shoot within 9 inches, but not when they shoot further away. Other mechanics are once per game, where you have to remember, has a particular unit already used that once per game ability or not. All in all, you'll have to remember more, you will have to measure more, and you will also roll more. And I'm not sure that was the original intention of Onepagerules. Another thing is that even though I look away from dice rolls and the few times I forgot the special rules, I think that War Blessing was extremely overpowered compared to Alabaster Shielding. I will of course continue to follow the 3.5 army lists and see what the feedback of the community will be and how it will possibly change. So far, I'm really not sure. Well, thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you'll join me for future bat reps.